All right, so this lesson we are going to, do I always start videos with all right? You can let me know. I think one time I did okay, cool kids, because I noticed I always start them with all right. I don't remember if that was for this class or for geometry. You'll have to tell me. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to solve absolute value equations by graphing. Okay, and I'm going to show you, just to remind you real quick, what absolute value equations look like without graphing. Remember, we had problems like this. So 5 plus absolute value of 2x plus 6 equals 5. Okay, and what we would do, this was back at the beginning of this chapter, we subtracted 5 from both sides so that we only had the absolute value on one side of the equation. Oh, this one's dumb. We got 0. Anyway, and then we did 2x plus 6 equals positive, which in this case it's 0, whatever. And then we did the other side, 2x plus 6 equals the negative. Doesn't apply here, but remember that that's what we did. So we're going to do this, but this time we're going to solve it by graphing. Okay. Now we actually start out with exactly the same first step, is to get this absolute value equal to 0. And we're actually going to say f of x equals 2x plus 6. Okay. So that's what we're starting with. And then let me show you just a quick little sketch. I'm not going to put this on the actual graphing tool, but this is what absolute value graph looks like. The reason that it looks like that, this is kind of our base case of y equals the absolute value of x. So if you think about in the olden days when you're first learning to graph, you might have made an XY chart. And so if I said x is -1, okay, well, the absolute value of -1 equals 1, right? So -1, +1, that's our point. If I said x equals 0, well, the absolute value of 0 equals 0. So of course, this is my point. Okay, so we have -1, +1, 0. We had 1. Absolute value of 1 is 1. So here's, whoops, here's our other point, okay? And so that's what that main graph, remember we call that a parent graph. We also talked about transformations earlier in this year. And so you could look at this as a transformation of that parent graph. This +6 is going to shift it. It's going to shift it this way, I think. I have to think about that. Yeah, that's a whatever direction this is. That's a this way shift. Okay. And the 2x makes it steeper, narrower. But we're not going to do that this time. We're going to solve it logically by making an XY chart. And this time I am going to get our Cartesian graph here. It's giant. Okay. So let me erase some of this other stuff. I'm going to move this function up just a little bit so that we have room for an XY chart over here. So f of x equals absolute value of 2x plus 6. And we're going to make an absolute value XY chart. So we have the x, we have the function, and we have, I'm not going to write it like that. I'm going to write it slightly different. I'm going to write it like this. And then we have the actual function result. That'll make more sense. Okay, so we just want to test some numbers and see what we start getting. So I always like to start with 0 because 0 is easy. So we have 2 times 0 plus 6. So that's 0 plus 6, that is 6. So 0, comma 6 is 1 point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a point on our graph. Okay, I don't care which way you go, just pick a way. So I'm going to go with -1. Okay, 2 times -1 plus 6. So that is -2 plus 6. That is 4. So we found another point, -1, comma 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a point right there. All right, and then we can keep going. We can do -2. We can go the other direction. I don't care what you choose. So 2 times -2 plus 4. Nope, plus 6. Forgot what my actual function was for a second. So 2 times -2 is -4. -4 plus 6 is 2. So we have 2. -2, comma 2. I'm starting to see a trend. Okay. And then I think we want to test 3 and 4, -3 and -4, just to make sure we know exactly what our trend is. Okay, so -3, same process. 2 times -3 plus 6. Ooh, that one equals 0. Right? And -4, we have 2 times -4 plus 6. That's -8 plus 6. That's -2, but it's the absolute value, so it is +2. I think we have made enough to figure out our trend. It goes this way in a straight line, and then it's going to go this way in a straight line. Okay, and so that is our graph of the absolute value equation. We would also say that the solution set of this is where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, so that's at -3 here. So we would say that the solution set is -3. Now, if we had something where it crossed like twice, the solution set would be both of those numbers. Okay, so just be aware that that can be a thing. With that, there are some examples in your book of using technology. I'm still working on getting a TI-84 so I can show you how to do that. I will get there. And then there's inequalities, but guys, that's going to be the same thing. So if this was like, instead of f of x equals, if it was less than, you would just like color this whole area. There's nothing magic about once it has the inequality. Okay, I'm not trying to trick you. It's really straightforward. So with that, you have finished this unit, and I'm going to get you some homework for this one to practice, and then we'll have some check-ins.